All right, hey you guys, it's Ms. Smith here. Today we're going to be working on graphing exponential equations. So the first thing we're going to do, we're going to be graphing these exponential equations from a table. So let's go ahead and make a table. It's going to have x's and y's, and I'm going to give you the x values. Now I'm just making up these x values. I'm not getting them from the problem, but I know that these x values are a good range that will hopefully get us a nice graph. And thinking about that graph, since we're calling it an exponential equation, it's an equation that has an exponent in it, what kind of graph do you think it's going to make? Is it going to make a straight line? Is it going to make a curve? So that's something to be thinking about before we even get started. And then in a minute you can see if you were right. So my table of values has -4, -2, 0, 2, and 4. And these are just the values that we recommend starting with, especially for our worksheets on graphing exponential equations. That way you get a well-rounded sort of middle of the x-axis. You kind of get from here to there. Okay, so let's grab our calculator, which mine is over here. And what we're going to do is we're going to type in the equation. You don't need the y equals. You just need the 5 times all of this. And instead of typing in x, we're going to type in values from our table. So first, let's start with -4 for our x value. So my equation says 5 times, and then it opens up parentheses. And now we've got 1/2, so I'll do 1/2. And let me close those parentheses. It should look like that. And then you have an exponent of, it says x. We're going to take the first value from our x table, -4. I'll bring my cursor back down for my plus sign, and we got +1. Does that look the same as that, except for the -4? It does, so I just say equal, and it looks like I'm getting 81 for my y value there. And now we go on to the next one. So, same thing, 5 times, 1/2. And this time for our exponent, let's use the next x value, which is -2. -2. Bring my cursor down, +1. Don't forget the +1. For some reason, a lot of times we get to that x and we just feel like we're done and we hit enter, but don't forget that x1 is there. And we're getting a value for y of 21. Okay, 2 done, 3 to go. Let's keep going. 5 times, parentheses. Close those parentheses. This time, what is my x value? Oh, looks like it's 0. Okay, and then +1. And now I get a y value of 6 to go with that 0. Let's do our next to last one. And parentheses. This time x value is at 2 +1. We get a value, 9/4. You know what? You could graph 9/4, but sometimes it's easier to look at these things like decimals, right? So let's do 2.25. And you know what, guys? I'm going to change it up for this next one. For 4, I'm thinking that if you're watching this video, there's a pretty good chance that you're at home and you might not have this calculator with you. So instead I'm going to get my phone. You could also do this on a computer, and I'm just doing Desmos Scientific. You don't really want the graphing calculator for this table. You want the scientific calculator. So I'm going to go to that, and we're going to try putting in the equation with this scientific calculator. So 5 times, again, we're not doing the y equals. Just start with the number there, 5 times. Where's parentheses here? And I'll just do 1 divided by 2. And then I want my parentheses over there, so I'll do it like that. And now I need an exponent of, exponent of 4. So to do an exponent, I'm going to do this button right here that says a to the b, this one right there. So I'll do my a to the b, and then I'll put a 4 in there for x. And then I'll bring my cursor back down and do my +1. And there's my answer, 1.31. You really only need a couple decimal places, so I would say round to the nearest hundredth, and I'll write that in my table, 1.31. Okay, so options for you, Desmos Scientific Calculator here, or on your computer, or if you're in school, you can use one of these, or maybe you actually have one of these at home. Once you have your table made, you are ready for the fun part, which is drawing the graph. So let's look at what we have. We have -4 for my x value and then 81 for my y value. 81's kind of a big number. Is that even going to fit on this graph? Looks like the y-axis only goes up to 20, right? So don't even worry about this one. Just don't graph it. Let it be there. Know that it's going to be way high. -2 and 21. Okay, so does 21 fit on our graph? No, but can we just pretend it's right there? It's pretty easy to guess where 21 would be, so I'm just going to put a dot there. That way I have it. It's nice to have 4 dots for these because that makes a better curve. If you can only get 3, 3 is fine, but 4 is better. Now let's do 0, 6, 0, 6. And then we're going to do 2, 2.25. Here's 2. I know this next line is 3, so 0.25 is going to be a fourth of the way there. I'll put it right there. And then I need 4 and 1.31. So 1 is here, and then 0.31 is going to be like a third of the way to the next one. And can you see it start to curve? Yeah, I feel like we can start to see it curve. So it's going to come from very way up high and then start to flatten out here. So you have your asymptote, it looks like, at y equals 1. Okay, and that's your graph. That is all you have to do for number 1. I'm also going to show you number 8. It's not much different, so if you think you get it, then go ahead and do your work, but I want to show you one more. Number 8. Not all the graphs will look exactly like this. Sometimes they go a different way. But here we go. Back to 8. Let's make our XY table. That is always your first step. -4, -2, 0, 2, 4. Those are the values you will use on each one of these problems. And let's go ahead and start plugging in to our equation. So let's start out with your -4. Don't use the minus like I almost did. Use your negative. -4 times 2 to the power of x, which in this case we're going to put -4. -4 minus 2. Okay, does this look like this? Yes, it does. So I'm going to hit enter, and it looks like I'm getting -9/4. Isn't that funny? That's kind of like what we got last time. Is somewhere in our other table. So I'm going to hit the convert button because I feel like it's easier to deal with the decimals when I'm graphing. And I get -2.25. -2.25. Okay, now we repeat the process with all these other numbers. I'm going to start with -2. So in my calculator, -4 times 2 to the power of -2 minus 2. Don't forget the minus 2 at the end. -3. Okay, now we're going to go 0, -4 times 2 to the power of 0 minus 2 equals -6. Great, and then next we've got -4 times 2 to the power of 2 and still minus 2 at the end, -18. And then last but not least, we got to do that 4. -4 times 2 to the power of 4 minus 2. And we get -66. Okay, there's my table of values. Let's go ahead and put it on the graph. So where's my x-axis? Wow, it looks like it's all the way up here. So our graph is going to be entirely below the x-axis, I take it. Starting with -4, my y value is -2.25. So 4, here's -1, -2. And -2.25 will be about a fourth of the way to the next line. Okay, -2, comma -3. Oh, that's easy. -2, -3, put it right on there. Now 0, -6 will go here. 2, -18 will go all the way down here. And I'm wondering, is the next point even going to be on the graph? 4, -66, yeah, no, that's going to be way down here. So we're not even going to worry about it. And we'll draw our nice smooth curve going this way. And our asymptote is going to be at -2. So don't let that line go above the -2 mark. It really flattens out there. And that's your graph. That's all you have to do for this assignment. If you have questions, let your teacher know. We're here for you and we want to answer your questions. Bye.